Ma'am, to create database in MOSQL, we
Yeah.
have to create a password for that.
Yeah, you need to create a password. Even if you leave the password empty, it will work. What I will do is in the
Okay,
next
okay.
class, I'll download myself and I
Mm-hmm.
will show you once. Okay, that will be, I think, beneficial.
Okay, okay.
Okay.
Yes,
See,
ma'am.
okay.
Okay.
I think most of the people are here right now. I can start the class. I can 8 people, 10. Okay, 9 people are here. Okay. So in the last class, we discussed about introduction of like SQL and the DML and the types of the database languages also there. So we are out of which we studied about only the DML languages. See, though we have studied this in the lab class, but these things are important for your theory also. So it's not like that things won't be required in theory because we studied in lab. So this DML, whatever database languages is there, like DML, that are data manipulation language that we studied. So it's also required over here. Okay. So, but the thing is that I taught you in the lab class because see there are few commands in SQL. Okay, like we studied about the create command. Then also I showed you a bit of insert, but insert is called like it falls under the DML. We studied about the DDL, the data definition languages, right? So these things like also alter we studied, drop we studied, rename we studied. So these commands fall under certain group. So we should know what it which fall in which group it falls under. So like insert command that I just showed you how to enter the values, but I did explain in which group it falls. Basically, it falls under DML, the data manipulation language. Okay. So today we'll just apart from the topic, we'll just give a brief description of the subject also. Just wait. Okay. Just sorry for the disturbance. Okay. Next, we move to the basic introduction of database. So in this class, we will study basic introduction. What is the data? What is the database? Then we'll also study about the database independence, data abstraction, and the architecture for the database. Okay. So last day means in the first class, we discussed about what is a database. So basically, it was collection of related data. So as I gave mentioned also the data which are related, like the student roll number, student grades, address, phone number, all are related data of a student. So this will form a database, right? Similarly, an employee ID, then employee name, employee phone number, employee works in which departments, they will also form a database. So these are contents as known as the database, a collection of related data. Now what are data? Data are basically known facts. We know that, right? It's known facts that are true, that can be recorded and have implicit meaning. Any data should have some implicit meaning. A meaning should be there. Otherwise, without meaning, we know if there is no meaning, then it's not required to store the data. Okay, so that is why it is said to have some implicit meaning. Those there are facts which have meaning that are known as data. Okay, I have also given some examples. Since like this time we are going for online also, I'll be sharing the slides with you. Plus go through it once. Okay. Now moving next, we have some definitions like the mini world. So what is mini world? When you come across this word mini world, it means some entity. Okay, some objects. The objects basically of the real world, some part of the real world. Okay, so here I've given like a student grade is a like real world object, right? Now what does this transcript mean? See, when you will pass out the examination, the final degree you get will consist of all the semester marks in that mark sheet. Okay, it will not, because now the mark sheet you are getting consists of only the marks of the particular semester, but the transcript you get, suppose there will be 6 semesters, so all the 6 semesters marks will be displayed in the transcript. Next, these all forms like the small, these are part of the real world, right? Of which real world? That is of a student. Similarly, you can think mini world as the payment slip, okay, the pay slip of employees. So that is also forms of the employee table. Okay, so that also will form a mini world. Next, what is database management system? We heard of the term database management, right? Basically, it's a software package that helps in the maintenance and the creation of a software computerized database. Last day, though I was using this one, Oracle DB or this one, DB Fiddle. So I did not show you the creation of database because it was online. The database was already created. But when you go for MySQL, you have to create a database using some command. Now, in any app, like any software like MySQL, it's a database system package, right? There you can create how many database you want. You can create a new database and then you can work on it. Okay, next we have what is the then why do we create a database? Obviously for maintenance, for the creation and maintenance of the data. If we can save things, if let me give you an example. Like before, what we used to do is that we need to, you have seen attendance record, we have a register, right, for your student purpose. So we used to write the names of the student and we used to mark absent or present. Okay, that is also a database, right? But there are few number of students, but what about if there are thousands and lakhs and crores people are involved in that one? Then in that case, manual would have not been possible. We need to create someone for automating it, right? For that purpose, people also use Excel. In companies, people go for Excel because in Excel is also a database where we can store lots of things. Okay, but MySQL, but it's very difficult to link that MySQL, because you may have a query now, ma'am, if Excel is already working as a database, then why do we go for MySQL? So the thing is that in Excel we cannot it's very, when there is a front end we need to use some database that we can link each other. Okay, many of you have been creating app also, so you know you use different database. Now I am teaching you MySQL, but in companies hardly people go for MySQL. It's not that it is obsolete, people are using MySQL. Okay, but people nowadays are moving to next level, that is NoSQL. Okay, so this basically these things will come later. So what happened, it's very easy to link. Okay, link the front end with the back end, because the users, where we fill the information, suppose we have a Facebook. Okay, in registration, before anything we go for registration, right? Write our name, then our email ID, phone number, then our age, everything. So we mention, and that data we only see the front end, the form, but where the data gets stored, it's linked to some database, right? So that linking we are not aware of, that is done by the backend developers. Okay, so that is done. If they use MySQL or NoSQL, that will be of easy, but it's not the case with the Excel. So that is why we go for these softwares. Now, what is a database system? So obviously it is database software together with the data itself is known as a database system. Clear till this point? Please go through this line. Safir, clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, what I said, it has some implicit properties. A database has some implicit properties. Obviously, I mentioned about something called mini world. What was mini world? It was a part of the real world, right? So if there is a change in the mini world, that thing will be reflected in your database too. Suppose someone got back in the first semester, later in the third semester, so it reflected in the database, it was entered in the database, the student got an F grade. But later, when in the third semester that grade was modified, okay, it should be modified, then it should be modified in the database too, that the student don't have back now. Okay, so that is the thing about this mini world. This mini world consists of the student grade in first semester. Then later in the third sem, it should be modified that students should clear that subject. Okay, then in your transcript, the final result I was talking about, they do not show that you got back in the first semester. It would show that you passed that subject. Okay, next is it is largely coherent collection of data. Now what this coherent means largely logical collection. It should not be like any, there should be a logical connection of data, okay, with inherent meaning. It should have some meaning. Now why is database designed? Obviously it is designed to serve a specific purpose. So that has the database has the following implicit properties. Next, what are the database applications? You know now, like lots of applications are there. So first is the numeric. We know the name where it has been using, like database. I told you about Amazon. Then in hospital database system. So then we also have IBM also is there. Flipkart database is also there. Even our college university have one database, students database, employees database, lots of things. But what are the types of database application? Same things. It can be numeric application, it can be textual application, it can be multimedia application also. It's like, and then we have GIS also, geographic information systems are also stored. Then data warehouses are also there. Then real time and active databases. So these are the types. Basically you can, when there are like given a question, write the types of databases, and you write Amazon database, Flipkart database, no, that will be wrong, because the purpose is same. They are using that for e-commerce, right? But this database are the types. Basically there can be some number database, okay, and some can be textual database. Like for this creating this database, so like for face recognition nowadays, if you check, I think if you back I think 2-3 years back, this Facebook introduced, now you can go for face recognition. They can recognize, they can tag. That is why based on the face they can tag, right? That is known as face recognition. So how this face recognition is done? They store some faces, the expression of the persons, and then the database is created. So that is the what? It is a multimedia only, right? They will contain pictures. Then music can also be there. And then GIS, if you are going for some research on the like geographic, then you can go for this GIS. People are doing research on very images. Okay, this images can they go for. Okay, then data warehouses. Now data warehouses, suppose in a shopping mall, where it's like said the data warehouse basically a different subject. Okay, so you have milk. So when the customer searches for milk, something what should be kept beside milk, so that it's very what is there in the customer mind, that if there it's a said that when there is milk, the customer is ought to buy for bread. Okay, this is research. So these things are kept together in a mall. Okay, now real time data is there, the time series data and everything are known as, these are the basically types of databases application. So this is basically a simply architecture of a simple architecture of a database. So you can see the user and the clients are here, and this entire thing is the database. The programmers, the users are here. The applications, programs are there. They query you like this is entire the database system, right? We being the user and client, we work here with the application and applications. Then that application is queries this DBMS software, which is gets stored in this one. Okay, stored definition. So these things are just a normal view of the database. Just check if you have any confusion. What were we doing last time? That's on these things only. We were dealing with not this part, we were dealing with this part, data DBMS software, that is we are storing in the database. Okay, have anyone tried the program which last day I gave? Did you watch the video and try to do it? Or otherwise I think the codes were also there. Did you try? Anyone? No one? See,
Yes, ma'am, I have tried.
you tried? Who tried? I don't know. Who tried? Just tell me the name. I'm just not getting.
Ma'am, me, Prashant.
Okay. Only Prashant tried. What about Avinash, Ankura, and Ankita? See, thing is that if you want to learn, you need to practice. Okay, from next class onwards, I think we have a class on Wednesday, I guess. Yes, Wednesday we have class. So what we will do is that please install the MySQL. I'll show you in the class. And then after some time, I'll just ask you to log in again and share me your screen so that I can check that you have done the program or not, because we have entire 3 hours. Okay, that was the first lab class, so it's okay. But from next time, we'll do that so that I make sure that everyone learns. It's not the class is over, it will be over. Okay, next, going to the database schema and instances. So we already know database schema is. Last day you saw something like when we created the structure of the table, that is using the in the video which I showed you. This one, even in the class I showed you that one. Create table using the create table command. Okay. Create table employee I used, and inside that I used employee ID, integer, primary number, comma, then suppose employee name, then varchar of sub size 50 or something, then we closed it. Later when I run the query, this one DESC of employee, below I showed you description was there, right? Employee description was there, whether it's a primary key or not. Did you guys remember? I showed you once the structure of the table.
Yes,
Where it
ma'am.
contains the attribute names and
Yes, ma'am.
everything, whether it's a primary key, what is the type, data type used. So that is known as the database schema. Basically, it is the description of the database. So it will include everything, the constraints, the entities, attributes, and everything. But what is now a database instance? So after that, once you enter the actual value that we have used insert into employee value, suppose Tom, 101 comma Tom. So that is this 101 Tom is the database instance. So this structure once you create is the schema. The actual values is you enter is known as the database instance. Are you clear?
Ma'am.
Yes, Safir, I can't hear you.
Yes, ma'am. Clear.
Okay. So this database instance is also known as database state or database occurrence. So don't get confused when they're like different terms are used. Okay. Moving to, we are going to the 3 schema architecture. Okay. So this DBMS is divided into 3 parts, 3 schemas. Okay. So we have this internal, conceptual, and external schema. Let me show you. So this 3 schema architectures looks something like this. Okay, this is very important from examination point of view also and from interview point of view also. So you can see this external view is there, external level, conceptual level, and finally is the internal level. So this external, it comes under here the end users, where the programmers, users will be there. Okay, and there is a mapping. You can see a two-way arrow between the external and the conceptual, and similarly conceptual and internal. And this internal schema is also known as, here it's written internal, but it can be called as the physical storage. Basically, it means the physical storage. So if you go through it, so this basically internal schema means it will physically store the data in the database. So it will describe everything, complete details of the data storage. Okay, and how you will access it. So that things like the complete details and how the you will access it will be mentioned in the internal schema. Next is the conceptual schema, the second one. So what happens is, in the conceptual schema, this part is the middle part, or it is everything like it will show the and describe the structure only for a community of users, not for everyone. It will be like showing the details of the structure for a particular for a specific group of people, not to everyone. Okay, so it will describe all that, like data types, relationship, user operations. So what are the operations? That is insert, update, delete, and everything. These are the operations. Okay, and constants, we discussed about constant in the last class. That is the primary key constant, not null, check. So lots of these foreign key constants. So lot of these constants are there. Next we have the external schema. So this includes external schemas, means the external views, the user views. So it only describes a part of the database that are particular. It will not show everything to the user. It will only show whichever part the user is interested upon. Okay, and it will hide the detail of the rest of the other. So this is about the three schema architecture. First is the internal schema, which will show you the physical storage structure and the access path. Okay, how you will access it. Next is the conceptual schema, which will show the details only to particular community of users. What details it will show? The data types, entities, operations, constraints. These are the details it will show. And what is the external view do? It will be showing the details only whichever part the user is interested in, and other parts it will hide the details. And there is a mapping from everything. So that is why that is a mapping from external to internal and conceptual to internal. Similarly, so these things, that external to conceptual, there is a two-way arrow is there. Okay, so we must take care that these things are bidirectional. So that is known as the mapping. So this arrow is known as the mapping. External conceptual mapping, conceptual internal mapping. So that is why we need a two-way arrow. So whenever you draw the diagram, and if you don't give only one-way arrow, so that will be wrong. So make sure you do it. So are you clear now the internal schema architecture?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Next, moving to the data independence. So this data independence is again related to this diagram only. Okay. So what data independence means is, so independence means each level should be able to independently work from each other. That is, the internal schema should be independent of other two schema, that is conceptual and the external. Conceptual schema is like independent of the other two, that is the internal and the external, and similarly the external is independent of the conceptual and internal. So this is known as the data independence. That is, it can be defined as the capacity to change the schema at one level of the database without having to change the schema at the next higher level. Okay, so it's that when the internal schema has been changed, no effect should be there in the conceptual or this one into external schema. So it should be able to do it independently. So that is why it is known as independence, data independence. Now they fall under two groups. Okay, there are two types: physical data independence and logical independence. So physical, first here we have studied the logical. Okay, so let's study that. Logical data independence. So going by the diagram, we know the logical comes when there is a conceptual. So the conceptual will be there, conceptual schema. So the basically it means if you are able to change conceptual schema without affecting the external or without having to change the external view, then it is known as the logical independence. So basically it refers to the program immunity of application programs to the logical structure of database. So like here I have given example also, that if you like addition or if you remove new entities, attributes to a conceptual schema, it should be possible without having to change the external view, right? Just go through it once, then I'll move to the just tell me if you are done going through it. Done? Just read the slide once.
Done, ma'am.
Done, right? Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Okay. Next, moving to the physical data independence. Now, this physical independence means we know that from the internal schema that physical comes from the physical storage is related with the internal schema. So that means that it means we'll able to change the internal schema without having to change the conceptual one, because if you check, if you just recall the just get a few idea of the mapping part, there was a link between the conceptual and internal schema. So that is why we know that if we are able to change the internal schema without affecting the conceptual schema, is known as the physical data independence. So here you can find that change to the internal schema such as using different file organization, obviously because here we physically store the files and the access path. So here file organization or storage structure should be possible without affecting the conceptual or external schemas. We are able to store the files without affecting the other two levels. So this is about the physical data independence. So are you clear? Just go through the slide once. Done?
Yes, ma'am. Done.
Done, right?
Done, right?
Avinash,
Avinash,
did you understand?
did you understand?
I can't hear you. Okay. Please, like if you don't understand anything, because this concept now it's the theoretical, but later we'll move to the practical application also, so that it will be very difficult to understand. And believe me, this subject is very important from your interview point of view, and also from any higher examination like you have net, you have get. So anything, whatever exam you give, this subject is very important. So please make your concepts clear. Next, we have data abstraction. So data abstraction, what? You have studied in C++. What was the abstraction then? Yes?
Ma'am, what is the difference between active and real-time database?
See, active and real-time. Since real-time database, you have the time series database which keeps on changing, right? And active databases currently, maybe, like I will give you. Time series database, did you understand by time series? Just tell me.
Yes, ma'am.
What is the time series?
Yes, ma'am. At a regular interval of time, it will keep on changing it.
Yes, like the rainfall, right? Then earthquake. These are time series databases, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Active databases, basically you can say like maybe some event driven, like some event is going to occur. So that kind of like alerting statistics, then basically monitoring systems. So these are known as the active databases.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Probably I'll
Okay.
show you some active databases also, because when you work on research, you will understand. Okay. Next, what is abstraction? What I was talking about. You people have studied in C++. What is abstraction?
Ma'am,
Yes.
abstraction means ripping up data in a single unit.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. What about others? Okay. I won't tell you. You people need to learn. There is something written is there, but I won't tell you that one. So now, basically, abstraction, as far as I know, it means hiding the details. Do you people remember now? If we want to hide the data abstraction, if we want to hide the data from a specific point, do you remember something? It's not
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
data wrapping, okay? Data. So basically,
Mm-hmm.
so this abstraction
Wrapping
like,
is encapsulation.
yeah.
Hmm.
So next is that insulation between programs and data. So basically this database systems contains only database or like it will contain the database itself, like I told you, like in the data it will contain some database structures and also the data itself, right? Like this MySQL is a database, so it will contain inside that MySQL itself is a database, but you can also create a database in there, right? So it will contain lots of database also. So that is why it is known as database structure and constraints. So also, sorry, it is also known as the DBMS catalog. So MySQL is a database, but inside that you can also keep what other databases. You can store the tables, then also the table constraints in the tables. So these are things. Lot more databases can be there. So that is why it is this database structure is known as is stored in a DBMS catalog, and this is called program data independence. Okay, just go through the line. Go through these lines. So it's written that it contains database itself, but also a complete definition of database structure and constraints. Right? What were the constraints? I just keep you telling you that not null, then everything primary key. These are the foreign key. These are all the constraints. Obviously, when we will study the ER diagram, we'll study also the data models. Okay, under that we'll study ER diagrams. I will explain you what this primary key, then foreign key stands for, and everything will understand. So this is known as insulation between programs and data. So if there is insulation, that means it will fall under this property independence. So it is known as, since it is known program data independence. So here we have operation. Okay, so operation or function is same thing. Like I told you, operation, like we have insert, we have update. So these same things. Okay, then operation is specified in two parts. An interface of an operation basically includes the operation name, like you have a class structure in a C++. Okay, the interface. So similarly here we have two types. Okay, in class structure, what we have, the class name, and then the data type of the, we mention the attributes, okay, variables, and later we mention the functions of it, methods, right? Here also, but we have two parts. Here the operation will consist of an operation which includes the name and the types of arguments. Same thing. If you remember, please try to recall the class structure. Do you people remember how do you write C++? We written it in a box,
Yes, ma'am.
right? Yeah, in the first was in the, actually we drew it in a like in a rectangle type of thing, not a rectangle basically. I think of a square or something, and then we gave the class name, and later we gave some like attributes and the variable types, and later we move to the, in the down we have the methods. Similarly, here also we have in the interface part we store the name of the operation and the data type for its arguments. So data type, we have, what are the data types are there? We already studied in the last class. Okay, like this, the integer, varchar, bits, and then binary, and everything is there. Like Boolean, sorry, Boolean was there. So lot of date, time, timestamp, interval, all these data types we studied in the last class. Next is the implementation. The implementation, like we have the method. What were the, like in C++ also we get the get, we use the word get, and get method we write the name of the operation. So that is in mentioned in the implementation part. So the implementation of operation is specified separately and can be changed without affecting the interface. Now this is known as program operation independence, because the attributes are different and the methods here are different. Okay, so user application programs can operate on data by invoking these operations through their names and arguments, regardless of how the operations are implemented. So it doesn't matter how the operations are implemented, you can just invoke by calling its name. So that is known as the program operation independence. Thing is that whatever you are studying in this database concept is bit different from this data independence. You won't implement it in MySQL. MySQL is very simple. You will just create a table, update a table, add insert into a table. So these things are very easy. We'll also go for joining and everything, but these things are just theoretical. Okay, done.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Last is the data abstraction. So that the characteristic that allows program data and program operation independence is called data abstraction. Okay. So these are the basically abstraction levels are there. There is also 3 levels only, same thing. So external levels, end user's point of view, which describes the same thing as the 3-schema architecture. So conceptual community of data, and the internal, this is a DBMS view of data. Clear? Just go through once.
Yes, ma'am. Clear.
Okay. Okay, so this part is over. I want to start with data models. Okay, so should I start now or other class, like next class I'll do that? Or today you want to go for data models also? Yes, students, just tell me. Or next
Yes, ma'am.
class?
We can study.
I can start? Everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, you can just take 5 minutes break, okay? Just 5 minutes break. I'll just start the recording again then, because otherwise it will get over. I'll share the join the same link. I will just give a drop a message. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Wait for 5 minutes.
Okay.
And okay, attendance is there. I can take that. Okay. Please join this. I think 17 people are there. Please join again after some time.